Hi, my name is Jen, and I'm the co-owner of the Formidable Genealogist research company, here today with some genealogy lost and found. About 5 years ago, a friend of mine reached out to me and asked if I could do some research on his Norwegian immigrant great-grandparents. He had a family reunion coming up and wanted to be able to share some new information with his family. So I did the research, and as I went, I created Find a Grave memorials where they needed to be created, and I did other edits, I added photos, things like that. So somebody reached out to me recently through Find a Grave and said that they found a portrait at an estate sale, and they bought it only because they wanted the frame. But they opened it up, and the portrait inside was nicely labeled. So here's the portrait, and then is a very detailed labeling on the inside. So it was for Clarence Bang, and that's who I had been researching for my friend, was that family. This is my friend's great-grandmother's brother. So the woman asked if I wanted this portrait because she assumed I was part of my family. I let her know that yes, I definitely wanted the portrait, but that it wasn't my family. So I met her in the parking lot of a Happy Chef restaurant in Mankato, Minnesota, and she handed the portrait over to me. And now my goal has been to try to get it back to the descendants of these two people. So I set out to find some relatives of this couple, Clarence Bang and Lulu Gilbertson, and get this portrait back into the hands of someone who will cherish it. Clarence Helmer Bang was born in Joice, Worth County, Iowa in 1887 and died in 1968. Lulu Blanche Gilbertson was born in 1893 in Wisconsin and died in 1983 in Iowa. The back of the portrait said this was to go to someone named Ellen when she died, but they didn't have a child named Ellen. This portion must have been written by Lulu. I thought I would first follow that lead as that was Lulu's original intent. I traced a little on Lulu's siblings, and I did find an Ellen. Lulu had a niece named Ellen Haroldson Anderson, but Ellen passed away in 2017. So this likely was passed on to her, and the woman who gave it to me bought it from Ellen's estate sale. I found Lulu's obituary and found another photo of the couple with their son Amos. They had just 2 children, Amos, who died in 1980, and Myrtle, who died in 1991. Myrtle married briefly in 1946, but then divorced not long after and did not have children. Amos had 2 children. His first child, Amos, was born and died in 1946, but his daughter was born in 1949 and appeared to still be alive and living in Iowa. I reached out to her by letter based on her address on whitepages.com. I also found her only child and contacted her by letter and through Facebook Messenger. I waited a long time for a response or for my letters to be returned and did not receive anything. Clarence and Lulu's granddaughter and great-granddaughter are their last living descendants. I've included a photo of their granddaughter, but will not mention her name since she's living. I see a major family resemblance. My next idea was to look for their church. I found their marriage record from April 29th, 1913. They were married in Joice, Iowa, when Clarence was 26 and Lulu was 20. I know they were Norwegian Lutheran, so I started looking around for which church it may have been. Clarence and Lulu are buried in Beaver Creek Cemetery, so I Googled that to learn more about its history. Sure enough, there used to be a Beaver Creek Lutheran church on that site. It was first built in 1889, so Clarence was already 2 years old and not baptized there. Clarence's parents, Halvor and Merritt Bang, actually donated 1.5 acres of their farmland to build this church in exchange for a large family burial plot in the church's cemetery. The first marriage was performed there in 1891. Clarence and Lulu were definitely married there. Both of their children are on the baptism register for that church, and they attended that church for their whole lives. Further searching shows that the church was moved to a museum called Heritage Park of North Iowa in Forest City, Iowa in 2001 and is now a museum. I contacted them and they would be thrilled to add the portrait to their museum. Time for a little genealogy road trip. So today I contacted the chairman of the North Iowa Heritage Park and asked if he would like a donation of this portrait of Clarence Bang and Lulu Gilbertson. And he said yes. So I am here, even though the park is closed, and I'm going to leave it in the church. Here is the inside of the church. Over here on the wall is a picture of Clarence Bang's parents. They've donated their land for this church to be built on, 1.5 acres. And then the land deed is up there on the wall. Go into the sanctuary. And here is the inside of the sanctuary. It's now a museum. They have some displays over here in the back of the church. They have a bunch of tiny little Norwegian Bibles that date back to, let's see here, 1920. Very cool. And up here, the very first name on the life membership list is Clarence Bang's mother. I'm down in the basement of the Beaver Creek Church. The museum curators asked me to leave the portrait down here on a table so they'll be able to find it easily and then display it somewhere upstairs. So I've got it down here, all ready to go. And then I wrote up everything I know about the family so that they can use that in their display. Thanks for joining me. The Formidable Genealogist is a small family history research company consisting of 2 passionate and tenacious genealogists in the Midwest. In addition to research, we can also help people find their biological family through DNA, scan and digitally repair photos, slides, negatives, and documents, and create personalized family tree artwork based off of 30 or more templates on our website. Happy searching!